Hey, this is Derek, checking in with what I guess will amount to an epilogue to the epilogue. Yeah. So anyway, a few days ago, I talked with my pastor after avoiding talking for at least a week. At least a week. He ended up calling me twice. So after the second call, got a little anxious, and I said, all right, yeah, it's time to at least square this away in some degree and close this chapter. So to summarize what we talked about, I operate according to the principles espoused in these 6-word stories that I compile and publish on my blog. So one of those stories says civil discourse between dissenters promotes growth. So that turned out to be an important theme for the other day. Dig into it just a little bit. I believe we had a sincere and civil conversation. And one great thing about civility and sincerity is it allows you to see what is there, what's right in front of you, without the taint and twist of emotion and hyperbole and all the other flames that can fan. So in hearing our pastor, I heard his sincerity and I heard his myopia, his blindness, with regard to his, what he called his volunteer management approach, which I call the GRASP approach: group morale, relationships, administration, spiritual tone, planning, and problem solving. Those are the tweak factors. Those are the elements, the factors that gauge and execute improvement in an organization, measure the health of an organization. Now, I understand that GRASP approach, my pathway to powerful purpose approach, and my learning approach. Now, I also understand my standards and my dwindling patience and tolerance for boondoggle and inefficiency. Because remember, in my world, project mismanagement and people mismanagement are synonymous. So understanding my approach and then understanding his approach and how he's kind of blind to the correlation between the approach to the project and the approach to the people that are most adversely impacted by this helter-skelter shotgun approach, which, by the way, he doesn't see as helter-skelter at all. He sees it as a well-planned approach. But anyway, our approaches are quite divergent. They're quite divergent. And he opened the door for me when he said, hey, everything we do is on a volunteer basis and all volunteers have the freedom to say no. That allowed me to jump in and exercise that freedom to pull away from the computer-related projects and from the men's group and its chain gang culture. This is my take. That's what I call it. That's what I see it as. He even laid the working culture of the men's group at the feet of its founder, my predecessor. It was he who always offered the men up in servitude. Okay, well, remember, the approach that I took also offered the men up in servitude for the purpose of training to go higher and deeper in ministry by becoming efficient in our approaches. We need to do the work. The work's got to be done. We got to be efficient about how we do the work. We got to be knowledgeable about how we do the work. We've got to plan, assess, execute, address, improve, rinse, and repeat. So anyway, the agreement to disagree there is I pull back. Now the other key 6-word story, and I don't know if this is 6 words or not, but anyway, you got to discern collaborators from customers, from hustlers and musclers. I don't know how many words that is. Discern collaborators from customers, from hustlers and musclers. That's 8 words. Collaborators, customers, hustlers, and musclers. In this season, my time and energy is focused on identifying synergy and collaborating in ways that help develop our key curriculum projects. Course 1, Course 2, Killer Knowledge Apps. That's where my focus is. My focus is specific. It's specific, and there's lots of stuff that don't fit on my plate. I have to protect my time and my mind from distractions. Now, I protect myself from a customer. Remember, I'm looking for collaborators. Now, people that I think might be collaborators and show that they're not, then they become customers. Now, I protect myself from a customer by making them pay for my time. You have to pay for my time. Now, customers are always right? They're always right. And I'm saying that in sincerity because I understand what that means. I might not agree with it and all that stuff, but I get the truth of it. Your customer is always right. So you got to choose your customers carefully. And here's a customer you get rid of. When your customer reveals themselves as a hustler / muscler, you can't have my time. Now, this is a necessary and selfish action. I admit that. So I can live with being seen as selfish because in the clear identification that my pastor, for all his sincerity, for all his good-heartedness, is a controller, a hustler, and a muscler, and is enabled by his own pristine view of his good works. His good works spray this ethereal perfume and apply lipstick to the pig of the underlying misdeeds, if you will. Now, that's a story I've seen repeated in several annals of history. And I'm not fooled so easily. The Declaration of Independence is a wonderful document and makes it sound like I'm boo-boo the fool if I've ever expressed any chagrin, regret, or angst about living in this country. But we know that history is his story. It's a version of events convenient to the cause and MO of people trying to maintain control of other people, circumstances, and most of all, resources. We get it. We get it. We get it. So, as I close, if I watch that conversation that we had from my pastor's eyes, I sound like a malcontent and a know-it-all, which is probably the stereotypical box you put me in when you see me with my little rimless glasses and my little Georgia Tech and Clemson engineering degrees and my fancy little suits and my beautiful wife and all that stuff. Yeah, you probably see me as thinking that I'm a little better than everybody else. My way is much higher than everybody else's way. And you know, I've gotten into a lot of the trouble that I've gotten into by trying to subvert that stereotype, trying to combat that stereotype. Let me show you, man, that I will get in here and work harder and longer than anybody else. I'll get down on my knees and serve. That's gotten me into a lot of trouble. Because in fairness, I'm learning how to walk with the expertise that I have and not offer it up as omniscience, but simply insight. And that's INSIGHT, insight, not INCITE. See, what makes INSIGHT into INCITE is delivery, attitude, mindset. So I would like to think that when you see my sleeves rolled up, sweat on my brow, and the output and fruit of my labor, then you might be a little more accepting of my critique, my recommendations, my evaluations. And if you're not, I mean, it's cool. You gotta know who you can work with, who you can't work with. Now, the metaphor at work here is we. And when I say we, I'm talking about people of color. And I'm largely talking about African American people at our church. We're not seen as equals. We probably don't exist in an equitable situation. We probably don't. And it's good of all of us to try for that. But I said this morning to a friend of mine. You're better off, man, when you can see that you're not treated on par, because you won't be able to arbitrate, mediate, legislate. You won't be able to have yourself be treated differently. You're going to simply have to decide who you're going to allow to treat you in a particular manner. Now, if I'm going to be treated as 49% of a person, if I'm going to be treated as an object, 49% of me that is efficient, task oriented, and can get the job done, then I can't give you more than 49% of my time or myself or my talent. And that's pretty much what we've done. I didn't want to leave the church abruptly. It was mentioned that my emails, my 2 letters of resignation, came across as abrupt. And it might have even been laid at my feet that if I had said something about my growing frustration with the way I'm being treated. Now, we're not having a conversation about how I'm being treated. I know we can't talk about that. We were having a conversation about how these projects went. In my mind, the way those projects go is the way you treat the people who are executing them. So it is my responsibility to come and tell you that you're not treating me right. If that responsibility is on me, then I got the authority to say how much opportunity I give you to treat me in any way. Now, don't get it twisted. We're on our way out of that church and out of that situation. We don't want to run away from it. We don't want to create rancor. But we do want to establish, and I believe we have established, I'm not terribly crazy about how you do things, and you can make that about me. That's fine. That's fine. I'm not going to go away 100% happy with how any of what we discussed went down, as long as the bottom line result is you now know you probably don't need to come to me for a whole lot outside of what I'm already doing. I'm ushering. I will serve ably there because I believe in Robes and I will honor Robes' leadership. But I'll let Robes know that, yeah, I can't say when we're leaving, but we've already diverged by realizing, okay, this, like many other things, ain't quite what it thinks it is or what it says it is. And that's real. That ain't good or bad, man. That's just real. So I bring this epilogue to a close, and I'll tell you, I feel pretty good. I know our ministry is beyond that church and what we do at that church. It's far beyond that. I got to see that this morning at the SCLC program. I've got my eyes on enough concrete action. I've got my mind trained on things that I can do and ways that what I do can fit with the other efforts I see going on, to where if I continue to move in the directions that I have been shown, I will probably see more divergence from our present church fellowship. And that's okay, man. That's okay. Because I want to have enough relationship there where I'm able to at least speak to a situation if called upon. Now, if I'm never called upon, then it stays the way it is now. But we don't leave with enemies. We leave with acquaintances that could have been friends. Now, I don't know if that's any better, but amen. Peace. My eyes are wide shut. Eyes on the prize. Take care.